Welcome back to Coffee Break. My name is Bubba, and I was the coffee dude at Google for 11 years. In this second episode of the week, we're going to be diving a little deeper. This one is geared more towards people who have been in the industry for a little longer and want to kind of dive in a little deeper and want more information, things that may affect their day-to-day life. The subjects that we'll be covering will be coded in the show notes, so if at any time you want to skip ahead, you can go ahead and do that in the description. Some of the topics we'll be covering today are Dutch Brothers Coffee, Hawaiian Kona Coffee stuff, funds in technology in Africa, Lupin Coffee, ransomware, and a Vietnamese coffee concept in the Midwest. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. And the first thing we'll cover is actually the price of coffee. So if you look at here on the NASDAQ, price of coffee is $2.33 right now. And then over this past month, it has increased by about 30 cents or so. Over the last year, it's increased about $1.05. So definitely on the upswing right now. The first story I want to cover is actually Dutch Brothers. So I've been following this company for a little while. I haven't talked about it much, but just kind of digging a little deeper, kind of what's going on with them. They are at about 500 stores right now. Their plan is to be able to get to about 4,000 stores. I believe this next year is open about 125 stores. And again, they have about 500 total. A lot of stuff happening with them. Their profits have increased from what the article says, about 50%. So it increased to about $129.8 million from $86.7 million a year ago, and they have a ton of growth happening right now. They're just they IPO'd recently, and the prices seems to be skyrocketing and moving. So definitely curious to see how these guys grow. Big competition against Starbucks maybe in the future. So. And the next story I want to touch on is actually one about Hawaii and Kona Coffee. So what I didn't know is that the law that was currently or previously in place was that as long as a roaster or somebody selling coffee has 10% Kona Coffee in their blend, they can call it Kona Coffee or Kona Coffee blend. Didn't do much of a service to actually what Kona Coffee is, flavor-wise and everything. So they end up changing the law, and now it's 51%, which is really good. So they upped that. And there was actually a lawsuit that was filed in 2019 against Safeway, Walmart, and Amazon, according to the article here. About 600 Kona Coffee growers got together, sued them, and actually were able to get a settlement of about $13 million that was paid out. So pretty interesting stuff. I didn't even know that was a thing that did happen, but just good to know that, at the very least, the percentage of what needs to be in the blend now is higher to hopefully maintain a lot of, what Kona Coffee, should be and taste like, so that it's not misrepresented in any way. So, yeah, kind of interesting. One story that I did want to share was from a YouTube channel called Logically Answered. It talks about Lupin Coffee. I knew of Lupin Coffee, which is in like an Asian-based coffee chain that tried to compete with Starbucks. It goes over the history of kind of where they came from, how they started, the peak of their popularity, and also their big downfall. I didn't know a lot of the stuff that happened. It's pretty crazy, a lot of fraud and everything. But if you want to watch something interesting, learn something interesting about a large company that really didn't make it in the end, you can go ahead and watch it. I'll place a link to the video in the show notes. One podcast that I want to kind of highlight is actually Daily Coffee Pro with Lisa Farr. It's a subject that I wouldn't really have thought about, and that's ransomware attacks with coffee and different parts of the coffee chain. So pretty much if you leverage any kind of technology for what you're doing, and a lot of people use Square and those type of things, even for like accounting on the back end, you like all the computers that you use in the back, you're pretty much susceptible to some kind of ransomware attack. So she kind of goes over a little more detail about what that looks like and what's involved with that. But definitely check this out. If you use technology, which is pretty much everybody, you may find some value out of this podcast. And the last podcast that I found that I thought was kind of worth a listen is from a Better Table podcast. The host talks to a lady named Jackie Nguyen, who started a cafe called Cafe Cafe. It's a Vietnamese kind of coffee shop, being based out of the Bay Area, and specifically San Jose here in the Bay Area. We're right next to Little Vietnam. Huge area, ton of coffee shops, Vietnamese coffee shops. So I'm used to seeing a lot of these. A lot of people around the world really aren't, outside of Vietnam and these, Vietnam cultural centers. But good story about where she came from, why she started, and her success, and what she's doing with her company. I thought it was interesting because there are a ton of different coffee experiences that you see as you travel around the world, and very few people actually get these experiences and put them and place them into environments where they're not the norm. That's something that I want to see more of, which hopefully more people will do. The Italian coffee experience is different from the bulk that we have here in America, which is different from the ones you find in Thailand or Vietnam, or the ones you find in Greece. Like, they're all different, but we get so used to kind of the coffee experience where we're at, because that's all we have access to. So it'd be kind of cool to see more of these culturally specific coffee experiences around the world. So yeah, good listen if you want to kind of get an idea of what she did and how she did it and why she's kind of successful. All right, that's all we have for this episode. But if you like what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. That helps us get our channel in front of new eyes. If you have any comments or recommendations, please leave those in the comment section. And if you want to get notified on any of the most recent drops, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you being here, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. We will see you next time.